Hey guys, welcome back to the Cash or Code YouTube channel. So in today's video, or actually the next few videos moving forward, I've started to dig into this little course that I've been wanting to do, the Cash or Code Roblox scripting course. And basically, if you've been around for some time, you can see that I have not been treating my channel so well. But it is over with that, at least hopefully it's over with that. I've gotten some more motivation now, and I think the way to go forward is just making this course. So basically what we'll do with this course is I'm splitting it into a few modules, so take it as you will. It's probably going to be episodes on the channel. And I personally have, like, when I started scripting a few years down the line, I seen these I had seen these scripting courses as well, and I tried watching some of them, but they just didn't fit for me. So basically what I did here in my course, I did something that it will only fit some of you guys if you're watching this video. I'm not saying this is a course that is going to help everyone 100% certainty, because I know it won't. But this is for the more hardcore coders. If you want to get into coding, you don't want to watch a course where they're speaking about like how to do the absolute basics for multiple episodes, and you just want to get into the beef pretty quick, then this course is going to be something for you. If you want to get it a bit slower, a bit more slow pace, you want to get everything really deep explained to you. I'm not saying I won't explain it, but I am gonna see if I can get over a bunch of different stuff. So therefore we are going to move over the small stuff and focus on the more packed things of coding. So yeah, so I've been watching some of these courses when I was started out coding, and I just didn't like them. So the way that I set up this course is I split it into 9 modules. There's a 10th module, but that one doesn't really count. And then these modules focus on things that I have been using when I've been coding for the last few years. So this is not just random subjects in coding that you're basically never going to use. This is only stuff that I've actually used. Because when I say there's a lot of stuff you don't use on Roblox Studio, I actually mean it. There is a bunch of different things that, unless you're working with the deep stuff of some kind of project that you have, you're going really deep into math, for example, you'll stumble upon some functions that you just will never use besides that one time. So I really just tried to go on ahead and only added the things that I think is going to be good for you guys to actually get into coding. And as I said, it's going to be a bit more hardcore. This series is going to be a bit more fast-paced than other courses. But I just didn't like the mix of other courses, and this one is completely free. There's no paying. I've seen most of the courses nowadays is paid courses, because you know the demand for Roblox scripters, at least the ones that show on YouTube, is really high right now. So therefore people take money for it, but that is not the route that I've been going with this channel. This channel is purely for helping others learning to code. And then if there's some money over in the long shot, then that is of course just a bonus. So yeah, without further ado, I think we'll get into the course. So we'll start with module 1 this episode, and then the next episode, which I pump out either this week or next week, is going to be the module 2. So this series, if you're watching it like directly after release, then this series will probably be 1 or 2 episodes a week. If you're not watching this, if you're watching this a few years down the line, then you have all the modules, all the episodes available to you, so you can just go ahead and go through it. But I would still advise that you take some mental breaks in between if you're going to take this, because it is kind of beefy, it is kind of long in some code, and if there's a bunch of code that you don't understand, my Discord will always be in the description of all my videos. So you can go ahead and join those, and you can ask in there, or you can just DM me privately. Anything works. I won't get mad if you DM me. And I read all my messages. So yeah, without further ado, without more yapping, I think we'll just get into the module 1. So module 1 I've called Introduction to Roblox Studio, and this is basically because the points that I've wanted to go over is basically an introduction to Studio. a guide to how we use it, and then I'll teach you all the downloadables, all the websites, important information you need, blah blah blah. And then we'll go over some absolute basics. But if you are, this is at least coming from my perspective when I was doing my courses, if you have already done courses before, you already know much of this stuff, so I'd advise you skip to module 2, because in module 2 is where I'm starting to get into the beef. So already at module 2, at the second episode of the series, we're going to start getting into the beef. So if you know the absolute basics, you certainly know everything about Prince Warrants, then you can go ahead and skip this video, but I am probably going to explain it in a way that you haven't heard it before. So if you want everything added up, you can go ahead and watch this module video as well. All right, so on my screen right here, I have my desktop, I have my applications everywhere, my editing program that I don't like to use because editing is just not cool. But anyways, what you do here is on my desktop, I see I have the Roblox Studio app, and this is the app that you're going to need for Roblox coding. When you download the Roblox player, so essentially when you download Roblox to play it, then you get the Roblox Studio app, it comes with it. But if you do not have the Roblox player app, then we need to go install the Roblox Studio manually. So the way you do this is you open up any Google tab, then you search Roblox Studio, and I have a bunch of stuff here because just get used to that when you're doing coding. So the first link, Roblox Creator Hub, go into this. Actually, don't do that. Let me retype it, it's been a long time. So do download Roblox Studio, and then right here, I think it is this one here, right here. Yeah. So in this thing called Creator Hub, the link is right here if you want to read it out. If not, then just type download Roblox Studio, get into the engine and the guide tab, which will be Roblox Studio setup. This will teach you how to set up the game as well. But basically, press this big blue button that says download Studio. It's gonna open this tab where you just say download, let everything install, and then you're basically in. So once you have the app installed, that's 1.1, that's the basics done. Then we have the platform to go off. So now that we have the actual platform, we need to figure out what to do in the platform, because if you're, for example, coming from Unity or something, there's some stuff that's gonna look familiar, and there's a bunch of stuff that's not gonna look familiar. So generally, Roblox Studio is a more kid-friendly website. The interference is very kid-friendly as well. So yeah, it shouldn't be that hard to learn it for anyone. So basically, once we get in the tab, this is how my Roblox Studio looks, and this is probably not how your studio is going to look either. First thing I would advise you do is, if you want it to be a bit more relaxed for your eyes, go to Studio Settings. You can also press Alt+S. Go to the Studio tab right here, and then scroll down, and then the theme. I would set this to dark. You can set it to light, but this just really hurts. I think this is the default look for Studio. But we prefer to use dark theme, and that's also what I'm going to be using for this video. And the rest, you can change your this is the output font. Inside the scripting, you can change your scripting. This is my font. You can go and copy this if you want the code to look 101. But yeah, this is basically my settings right here, and then this is my color options. I'll slowly go through them all. So yeah, but it's not like you're gonna need to copy any of these. You can find it on your own. This is just what I've been always using or using for quite a while now, and I quite enjoy it. So basically, when we're inside Roblox Studio, this main window right here where we can see what looks like a block and some ground here, this is the main game frame. So this is where you're gonna see your game, like what you're creating. It's going to be inside this game frame. So if you hold your mouse down like you would, you can look around in here. WASD to fly around the map, so you can look and fly around. Basically maneuver on the map. If you want to fly faster, you hover over this icon over here. There's a bar that says 0.7 for me. Turn it up to 4.9 for example, and now you fly faster. So yeah, I'm going to turn it down to 0.8. That's going to be fine. Alright, but also on this axis up here, you can actually see where you're looking. So right now we're looking like this is our head. We're looking, this is the front. Right now this is where we're looking. Now we're looking like up the y, x, and z value. So I'm gonna put in a part right here just to show you guys what the y, x, and z values are in Roblox Studio. So basically, I'm in the home tab. I pressed part to spawn a part. You can also do different types of parts. And then I pressed on the move tool, and then I pressed on the part. So basically, this allows me to move the part around on the map. If you do Control R, you can do like a quick rotation as well on the part. But as said, we are mostly working with coding, so we're not going to be using these objects as much. And the way we're going to be using objects is if we have to absolutely use objects, we're going to spawn them ourselves in our script. We're going to position them, anchor them, everything from there. So basically now what we go ahead and do is we have this part. So the green arrow, at least from on my screen, the green could be a different color for you, is the x-axis. So this is what controls the height of most things in Roblox Studio. This is, you know, simple x-axis as you know it from math. And then the blue and the red are the second and the third dimensions. So the x dimension here, x, and then y, and then you have the z or z, or however you want to say that word, or that letter, sorry. However you want to say it, this is the third dimension. So that is why this is a 3D object, because there's 3 dimensions to this object. When you're working with GUI, so user interface for the user, which you can do in Roblox Studio as well, of course, to make your players see how much cash they have, for example. Then you're working with 2D because there's only the ups and down on the screen, so basically where it is positioned up and down on the screen. And then the X and the Y, so where on the screen it's positioned like this. So there is no third dimension for the 2D. So that is very important to know that for 3D objects, when you're talking about 3D objects, this is objects inside of the game. 2D objects is what the player can see on their screen as user interface. So you can also make 2D games, of course, where you just don't use the third, the third dimension here. But anyways, this is enough about dimensions. You probably already know this stuff if you're coming from other programming things, or if you just follow along in math. But basically now we're gonna have a look at the Explorer tab. If you don't have the Explorer tab open, I believe it's under, it's under View at the top. You can like switch between the tabs. Go to View and then press on the Explorer and press on the Properties and open up. Mine is located like this, so I have my Explorer here. And then when I press on my part, I can see all the properties for that part in this other side over here. That's just how I have my studio set up. You can set up yours however you want. It doesn't change a thing, as long as you can see both of these properties, and you can throw them around by just holding them down. And then you can see there's so many docking areas where you can put them. You can put them next to each other, up here, down there, over here. So I just have mine over here, but yeah, put yours wherever you want. And then down here I have my output open, and output is very important. This is basically where you can see if your code worked or not. So the way you open output is on the View, and then you press the output button as well. You can run the command bar as well, which you can do. Like I have some well constraining stuff down here, but yeah, it's not really needed for now. So yeah, open the output, open the Explorer, and open the Properties tab. Once you have these 3 tabs open, you can basically get into the beef of how Roblox Studio works. So there's all these options up here, but don't take notice of any of them yet. There's no one that's specifically interesting to you. You have just the basics. You have your select, where you can just select parts to throw them around randomly. Move parts to actually move them on the axes. The scale part to scale up parts. And it's so easy to just make parts the way you want them to be. And then of course the rotate parts, which says itself, it's going to rotate the part. Then you have your mode, geometric. You can also do physical, but then it's some joint stuff and stuff, and we don't want to work with that. I haven't used it before. Collisions will basically make it so it collides with any other object. If you don't have collisions on, then it won't collide. I wouldn't have collisions on. And join surfaces is the same thing. You see, it's gonna try to join the surfaces here. Oops. Anyways, next up on the option we have, or the thing at the top, we have the terrain editor, where you can make terrain in your game. not going to use this for now. This is again only for builders. We're scripters, so we're not going to focus on that. We have the toolbox, which is very, very happily used by new developers. Basically, the toolbox is like an open source free shop for everyone where you can just find any item you'd like. So if I wanted a house on my game, I would type house here. I would look at the pictures, I'd say, this modern house looks really good to me, and I would, boom, plop it in my game, and there's a modern house in my game, completely free of charge. The thing you gotta notice about this though is that so these don't have scripts, but the one that have scripts has scripts, right? So basically when you import these, it's gonna, okay, it doesn't even give me an error, but it imports them. But you gotta be careful because the ones that have scripts could be malicious. You could have people putting scripts into their builds just for the sake of ruining others' games. So yeah, I wouldn't advise using the toolbox unless it's absolutely useful. I use it for something or things here and there. But what I mainly use it for is I use it for images. So give me an image of a coin, for example, right here. And then you just go ahead and copy the asset ID. You don't actually plop anything into your game. So this is for UI and stuff. And then I use this for for sound effects as well. So yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there is a money sound effect, and you can just go ahead and insert this into your game as well. So yeah, sound effects and images can't have scripts inside of them, so therefore they can't be malicious, but they can still be quite annoying if they're just annoyingly set up. So I advise you only get the asset IDs from the stuff. Anyways, enough of the toolbox. We're going to move over. So we have the insert option, or the insert section, where we can insert stuff from the toolbox part, and then we can insert directly UI. And this is going to take us to another tab called UI, where we can insert screen GUIs and blah blah blah. And this is, we're going to cover all this later in the series, but this is just for inserting UI. Then we have where we can import 3D files. So if you have any files from Blender, if you're a modeler, then you can insert them here, I believe. Import a mesh rig or avatar from a file using the import UI. So yeah, you can also import files if you're doing like GFX commissions where you're making custom avatars for people and like cool stuff like that. And then you can use lock to lock a certain part. If you press on this part and you press lock, it's going to be locked now, and I can't move it, I think. I don't know if completely this is what it's doing, but yeah. We're just gonna go back because I think it welded some things together, and now it's ruining my game. So yeah, that's why you don't press on that many things. Yeah, I think we're good now. So basically that is the lock button. It locks parts and stuff. You have your play game, which is where you play, test your game. So go ahead and press on this, and then you see I run an instance inside of my game. I can run around and test my different code. This is very useful because you don't want to save the game and then play it on Roblox every time. You want to just play it directly from in here. And you can see it says current up here. You can change it to the server to look at some server statistics, some server scripts, anything like that. You can see if I go on the client right here, I cannot access anything inside of these. You know, I can't here, but just to show you guys, if I had a script inside of server script servers right here, because it's in server script servers, right? It literally says server in the name. And when I go ahead and play the game, you can see on the client, I can't actually access this server script because it's protected to only be the server. Switch to the server, and then I can see the script inside of here because we're on the server, we're supposed to make changes on the server. So anything that you want to code, this is very important for coders. Anything that changes a large state of the game, anything that changes a player's values, etc., needs to be connected with the server in some way, because if something is on the client, no matter what it is exploitable. So any code on the client a hacker could read and make changes to using an injector. Any code on the server they wouldn't be able to. So run as much code on the server as possible, and then you're basically good there. Next up on the list, we have the game settings. You gotta save your game to SSDs, not important right now, but you need to, sometimes you need to use some APIs, accept some APIs and stuff in the game settings. Quickly move over the model tab. Again, we have our tools here, transform. Basically just gives this weird transform thingy. You can probably work with that. You have your rotation and your move, and this is just if you can use those, and then it's by how much. So you rotate it by 10 degrees each time, and you move it by 2.5 studs. And basically in studio, everything is counted by studs. So if you're getting a distance between two parts, it's gonna plunk out the studs between, and then you can work with that. So there's no centimeters, meters, whatever, it's in studs. You can edit a pivot of a part. You can make a snap. You can use align tools, texture generators, some AI stuff here, different effects, and then the most important one's probably spawn, because in your game, this is a spawn point. It's known by its iconic image at the top. You can of course go ahead and change the image if you're just a weird person, but yeah, this is just to showcase the spawn point for you. If you have a spawn point, no matter the size of it, the player is going to spawn there every time. So put it over there. Let's pray, and boom, you see we spawn at the spawn point. This is basically just where you come from, and when you die, reset your character and you come back into the game, you're gonna spawn at the spawn point again. So yeah, the next on the list we have some effects, collision groups, blah blah. We'll get into this later. We have the 3 different types of scripts. We'll get into this as well. But yeah, server script, local script, and module scripts. Then we have the avatar where you can mess with some accessories. This is where you can test your game from. You can do cleanup, you can do a local server. If you're in a team crate, if you're working with other developers, which you can on Roblox, you press the collaborate button and then you can add players to your game. If you're doing that, then there's an option to test with the team as well, where everyone can get into one server on studio and test the game. You can see how many players you want in there. The more players you put, the harder the game, or the harder the studio is going to go in your PC, because local testing with 2 players on your PC is already tough for it. So local testing with 8 players is just a mess for your PC. Then you can check how like UI looks on different types of like stuff. You have your iPhone. So my first iPhone was the iPhone 4. I don't believe it was the S. I think it was just the 4. So yeah, this is how my game would look on my first iPhone back then. Yeah. So then you can see basically if you had any UI in your game, you can see how that would look on the phone. So realistically, I think most people have like if they're on phone, they have anything between the XR and the 14. So we'll just do the XR as the reference. So this is probably how many Roblox, because the majority of Roblox players play from their phone. So this is how they're going to see your game. And then of course you have your average laptop. They see it from this. And then your standard resolution, 1920 by 1080. Yeah. That is basically everything for that as well. You have your player where you can, player emulator where you can enable test profile, whatever. And you can mute your audio. You have all these different tabs, which are going to be useful later, but not right now. You can see the wind direction in your game. You can add wind in your game. Yeah, that's cool as well. Wind actually works with, if you have a grass terrain, let me go ahead and show it real quick. If you have, go into the tool editor, press edit, draw, and then we gotta make a grass and not make it this big. Turn it a bit down. So now we have a grassy hill right here. And then, whoops, I'm a bit too fast. Then inside of this grass hill, if you go ahead and add wind direction, you can see the grass is going to, blow the direction of the wind. Yeah, that is very cool. And it works with grass. I think it works with some other stuff as well. But yeah, definitely with grass. You can see this is a lot of wind right now. And I think in the new Roblox characters, you can see a wind effect on there as well, but not on the R6 ones. Yeah, so basically old Roblox characters are R6, new Roblox characters are R15, and now there's like realistic characters and whatnot, which is like the new generation of characters. But yeah, most players I think still play in R6. Actually, I think R15 is more popular now, but a lot of people still prefer R6. I still prefer R6, but if you want your game to be published to the most people, you want to make it so it's either R6 and R15 or just R15, because then it's enabled for most players in your game. Anyways, and here we have the rest of the stuff. You can see some stats, network, render, physics, just some statistics. You won't ever use this, so yeah, and you have your plugins. So this is some of the plugins I have, and then, oops, wrong one. Then I have a bunch of plugins in here which are just not installed. You don't need plugins right now. Some of these are also paid plugins. So I spend money getting these because they're just so useful for your game. I believe I have the Moon Animator, which is a really well-known animator. This is a paid animation thingy as well. I got it cheap a few years back. But if you want to start getting into animation, you need this one, and this actually costs money. So there is some paywalls in Roblox Studio, but this is just to support the creator of that plugin, because you can make your own plugins as a developer. So I think this basically covers the basics of how Roblox Studio works, and then I'll show you some basics in the server script. So when you open up a script, you can have it wherever you want, and I'm gonna, inside my Explorer, press on the plus on the server script service, and then add a script, and it's gonna look like this in your script. And basically the Explorer is this tab with a few different thingies inside, if you will. You have your text chat service where you can fix everything text related. Don't put anything in here, you're not going to use it. Sound service, you can put your sounds in here, like a place to hold your sounds. Teams is where you can add different teams in your game. Starter player is any scripts you want inside of the player when the game is launched or a new instance is added to the game. If you have a script in here, it's going to copy inside the player when they actually play the game. So yeah. And then you have your starter pack, which is what they have in their pack when they play the game. See, if I add a tool, if I press play, you can see I have a tool in my inventory now. I can go ahead and equip it. It doesn't do anything because it's just a tool, but yeah, that's basically how that works. Starter GUI is for anything user interface related. Server storage is just to keep anything in the server, stored in the server so the client can't access it. Server script service, as I said again, is for scripts to be stored on the server. Replicated storage is storage that could be both replicated on the server and the client. So you could have something called, typically frequently used, you would have a remote event, which you can use to speak from the client to the server and vice versa, from the server to the client. Then you have your replicated first, where this is what's being replicated first in your game. And then you have your material service, where you can enable old materials if you use old materials in Roblox Studio, or you can use the 2022 updated materials. You have your lightning in here, which controls how the game looks with the lightning. You can see if I go ahead and move all these effects over to material service, my game is going to look different. And then if I go in here, it's going to look the same. Then we have the players tab, which when you play the game, you can see my players being added to here. And the important thing to know about Studio, how the players work in Studio, because you want to modify stuff with the players pretty often. Inside the players tab is where my actual player is. This is where if I have any scripts, I have any UI, anything to move but control how my actual player is, not my character. Because right now what you're seeing on the screen is my character, but this is my player. Like if you want to control my user ID, my name, add me to tables, etc., you would do that from scripts inside the player. And then inside workspace, you have the same thing. My name again, but this is a model. These three boxes means it's a model, and this is not my player, this is my character. So inside of here, even though it's called the same, this one is modifying my health. My humanoid is basically what controls how tall I am, how fast I move, if I die or not, if my joints should break or not. And then you have all your properties to my character, and the most important one, the most significant one, is called humanoid root part, which is just the root part of your character. So if you want to move your character anywhere, you want to remove the root part. So yeah, if the root part gets deleted, you can see I can't move my character around anymore because there is no root part to the character. And this is because the root part is the most important and most significant part of any character in Roblox Studio. So anyways, I've already been recording for too long, so let's get this finished over with quickly. So basically inside of the print, what you're going to do is, this is like the default code. It says print hello world. If you've ever been familiar with code before, you know that this is the standard for most game engines. Hello world is just what all game engines use. And yeah, so basically what this will do, if I go to play my game, it's going to go in the output, which we opened before inside of view, and then output at the top. It's going to print out, as it says in the name, it's going to print out hello world. So yeah, this prints out hello world. I could print my own username, but again, this is on a billion different courses, so I'm not going to go in depth with any of this. You can see now it prints script casual, but yeah, you can print anything you want. You can also print numbers and weird icon thingies, blah blah blah, and you can see it prints all of it to the output directly. Anything which is inside of these columns, it will print out. Then we have the warn, which basically does the same thing, but it's more to warn you that there could be something wrong with your script. This is not saying there is something wrong with your script. If you have an error in your script, then it's probably gonna look something like this. You can see server script service, it's malformed string, did you forget to finish it? So you can see the errors in Roblox Studio. When you get good at scripting, you can actually read and understand what the errors is. If you're getting an error when you're new to the game, or when you're new to scripting, sorry, then you just like, oh my god, what is this? Like, it's just not working. It must be the tutorial guy's fault. But basically what it's telling us is, this is where the location of the script is. Service.script, because our script is just called script, and then it's at line 1. You can also see right here, this is which line it's at, so it's at line 1, and it failed at this point in time. It's 8 a.m. I'm about to go to my university class soon, so gotta finish this up. And then it says here what the error is. So it said malformed string. So basically a string, if you're unfamiliar, a string is a line of letters. So it's a way to put wordings into your game. And then you have numbers, which of course makes sense with numbers. And you have data structures, which I'll get over to later. But strings is basically for anything text related. That is a string. It's a string of text, funny enough. So it says malformed string, so malform in the case that the string is not done properly, and it asks us, did you forget to finish it? And in this case, yeah, we actually did forget to finish it, because we're missing a colon right here. So this also goes to show that it's these small things in your code. Say if you had a 200 line script, which you probably will get to very soon, at least if you're following this course, then just one simple error could break your entire script. So Lua is a very case sensitive scripting language, so everything has to be in order for it to work, of course, and that is the case in basically every programming language out there. It also says where I disconnected from. So yeah, but basically this is the entire basics of Roblox Studio, and yeah, we'll see if we are missing anything else. So this is basically the layout of my course. I've just gone ahead and did it on my notebook because it's just the easiest. So I'll show you guys quickly some websites, and then yeah, I think we went over everything, but you can see already in the next module we are going to get some must-knows. We're going to get into what is functional coding. We're going to get to arguments, input outputs, multi-script coding, connecting the dots. We're going to talk about remote events, bindable events, and then we're going to get deeper, and within just 5 episodes we're going to talk about everything, every services that you probably never heard of before. We're going to talk about GUI, opters, vectors, frames, looping, tweening, welding, everything like this. So give it no time, and then oops, let me close this, and then we'll get into it. So basically, the last thing to show you guys is, if you go ahead and open up your Chrome, if you search developer forum or Roblox, you're going to get to this developer forum Roblox. And basically, you probably won't have access to the site, or you will have access to it, but you won't be logged in. So to log into the site, you have to be sorry, you can log into the site. That's not what I mean. But on the developer forum, what you usually do is you create a topic if you have an error or something. But if you're just new to Roblox Creator Hub, you won't be able to, or to the forum, sorry, you won't be able to make your own topic. You need to have read other topics for quite some time. I don't know how it is. I believe it's like something like 12 hours, maybe something like that. Don't quote me on it because I'm not sure. But yeah, basically, inside here you can see all kind of topics. You can see the first one: do you think Roblox will die soon? Hopefully not, because we're doing this series now. So yeah, but then people are discussing all kinds of stuff in here. You can go into discussions and you can basically find anything you want. So if we said Roblox dev forum, which is just a short way of saying developer forum, we could say string error malform, which is the stringer we got earlier, and you can see a bunch of different topics here, and some of them says fix. So press on the first one and you can see this guy got an error. He put in his code here, showed his error in the output, and then he got help from other people, and you can do this as well. But the thing is, on Roblox Studio, people are very tired of seeing the same errors everywhere. So if you have an error, what you do is you search first, you see if anyone else has got the error, if they've gotten help with it. And if you literally can't find anything, which is going to be very hard, but if you can't find anything, then you can go and make your own topic. And this will all be under scripting support, which is going to be our main focus of tab. You can also get better at coding by just going into these scripted supports. And if you have an idea of what the error is, you can make some code for them and suggest what the error is. So for example, in here, we can say decal not playing properly on part. If we had an idea of what was wrong in this script, I don't know what he's doing here, some kind of FPS stuff. If you had an idea on what is going on, it's probably going to be something with the direction here. Then we could go ahead and reply to this and give him a solution. And if you actually get a solution, you will get, if it's the right thing you fixed, you will get something called a solution. So I have 4 of these solutions. So basically, it's inside these, for example, this guy, what I did here, he had a issue with this script, some kind of old script he had to spread fire in his game. And then I gone ahead and I sent him some modified code. And then he replied to this as the solution. So anytime anyone goes into this this forum thingy right here and checks it out, they're gonna be seeing that what the solution is. You can see it's solved by me in post 15 right here. So yeah, it's very helpful for getting help and getting better to code. I know you're watching this course and I want you to stick on the course because I'm going to teach a lot of things. But if you actually want to get into the meat of Roblox Studio, don't quote me on that. But if you actually want to get into the stuff here, then after you watch this course finished, I'd recommend you get on the developer forum and you start reading on here and you start learning from others on here, because that is just vital. So basically the next thing that we have right now is we have the Roblox, I think it's called documentation now. Yeah. So we have the Roblox documentation, and you go inside here, you press on documentation, and you're in here. You can search docs of, you can also ask assistant, I don't know what this is, but yeah. You can search the docs. So if I didn't know what, say, a Boolean was, then I'd search Boolean in here. I'd find the one that makes sense. So I think this one looks the cleanest, and then I can go in here and I can read directly from Roblox themselves what a Boolean is. And these websites, you might look at these right now and you think, okay, well, I'm only going to use this when I get really good at coding, and that is just completely wrong. This is something that you'll be using all times. Like you can see over here, we have different types of everything. Like if you want to learn quick, you got to be able to use these websites. I know visual learners, if you're watching this video, you're probably a visualized learner as well. But just reading a few of these posts a day, a week, a month, whatever, is going to improve your coding so much. And if you get say if you're watching a tutorial like this one, or a course like this one, and you're getting an error, then you can't go ahead and ask the guy, hey, what's going on? Why is this failing? I mean, you can, but you probably won't receive the same help as if you do it in here and get help from the community. There is, of course, some very talented coders, much better coders than me in here. just laying around helping others with coding, some people that have been in the scene since forever. So yeah, I'd advise you go in here, and then let's go and check if we got everything. So important information, etc. Really, we're gonna get into the beefs. You're gonna get, we're gonna introduce everyone to plugins later. Why plugins are so amazing. We're gonna use plugins to make our own code and stuff. And then lastly, what are libraries? So we can actually, I think we can actually use this creator hub thingy, documentation, libraries, Roblox engine libraries. All right, so these are libraries. So basically Roblox Studio, the coding language that we're coding in right now. So you can go to your friends and family soon and say, hey, I can code in Lua U. It's called Lua U. The base engine is called Lua, which is this programming language. This is in Danish, but it's a programming language to whatever this is in programs, like embed in different programs. This is what it's most used for, and therefore that's what we have in Roblox Studio, because we can make custom properties with it, which is just really nice. But basically Lua U is just Lua taken, and then Roblox kind of bought Lua and said, okay, we want this language, but we want to make some changes. We want to add some things to it. So basically, when you're reading, you can also read the Lua API engine reference, I think it's called, something like this. In here, you can see the Lua API engine, and most of the stuff in here is going to be the same on Studio. But what Studio has is they have these built-in libraries, and some of these are built in, some of these come with the original like starter language. But this is basically what defines Lua U from Lua, is that we have these extra libraries. So basically this this coding language is built up on libraries. So anything like print is inside a library, for example. I do not know which one it is, but you can see all these different methods or functions inside each library. You have the math library, which is a big one. Like you have all these different math functions which you can use. They tell you how to use them as well. But yeah, basically what you need to know is that Roblox Studio's coding language is built up on libraries. Anytime you want something to work, you got to use a function within a library. And yeah, that is just all you need to know for now. Not like it's going to change anything, but yeah. This was just an introduction to Roblox Studio. I hope you guys learned something in this video. You probably know a bit more on how Roblox Studio works now. You can go ahead and mess around with some other buttons, whatever. And if there's a episode 2 of this, then I recommend you go watch that, because this, again, this was the one episode where we're going to be looking at introductions. The next episode we're going hardcore, and there's not going to be as much explaining, because then I figure you guys know a bit on the game already. And if you guys get an error, then you know what to do. So yeah, this is all. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episodes of the course. And yeah, peace out.